16 children boarded a bright yellow school bus on a warm spring morning in Florida, ready for a simple field trip to a national park. Teachers waved, parents smiled, and no one imagined that they would never see that bus or the children again. By evening, the entire community would be gripped by panic, and decades later, the disappearance of bus number 58 remains one of the strangest, most haunting mysteries in American history. What happened to the children of Ridgeway Elementary on that April day in 1978? Ridgeway Elementary School sat on the edge of a quiet Florida town, surrounded by flat farmland, small houses, and roads that wound their way into the pine forests. On April 14, 1978, excitement buzzed among the students. 16 children, all between the ages of 9 and 11, were chosen to attend a nature program in Ocala National Forest. The group was accompanied by one teacher, Mrs. Ellen Whitford, a respected educator in her late 30s, and their driver, Harold, or Hal Simmons, a 52-year-old man with more than 20 years behind the wheel of school buses. Parents gathered outside the school that morning, waving as the bus pulled away. It was a typical yellow school bus, bus number 58, with the district's name painted on the side. No one could have imagined that this would be the last time they ever saw it. The bus's destination was just under 2 hours away. The planned route was straightforward, south on Highway 19, cutting through small towns, and finally into the winding road leading into the forest. Several witnesses saw the bus on its journey. A gas station attendant in Omastilla remembered children pressing their faces to the windows while Simmons fueled up. A farmer on the outskirts of the forest recalled waving to the kids as the bus drove past. The last confirmed sighting was near the north entrance of Ocala National Forest around 10:30 a.m. The bus slowed at the ranger checkpoint, turned onto a narrow wooded road, and was never seen again. When the bus failed to arrive at the park's education center by 11:15, staff assumed it had been delayed. By noon, phone calls began. By 2 p.m., parents were panicking. Sheriff's deputies began searching the main road and surrounding forest trails. At first, they believed the bus might have broken down on a rural dirt road or gotten stuck in mud. But hours turned into days, and there was no trace. No skid marks, no broken branches, no wreckage in rivers or swamps, no footprints. It was as if the bus and all 17 souls on board had simply vanished. The disappearance triggered one of the largest search operations in Florida's history at the time. Helicopters and planes scanned the vast forest canopy, looking for the yellow roof of the bus. Hundreds of volunteers combed trails on foot, carrying lanterns late into the night. Divers searched nearby lakes and sinkholes, fearing the bus had gone into water. Yet, nothing surfaced. Even dogs brought in for tracking failed to catch a scent beyond the ranger station. By the third day, the story had made national headlines. Newspapers ran bold headlines, 16 children missing in Florida's bus mystery. Television crews swarmed the town. Parents clung to fading hope as rumors began to spread. Theories: accident and concealment. Some investigators believed the bus could have slid into one of Florida's many sinkholes. The state is riddled with sudden collapses, some as large as swallowing cars or a bus. But extensive geological surveys in the area never found a fresh sinkhole big enough. Hijacking. Another theory suggested the bus was hijacked. Some locals swore they saw a second vehicle, possibly a dark van, following the bus that morning. Could armed men have forced Simmons to turn off the main road? If so, where did they take an entire bus and its passengers without leaving evidence? Government connection. Whispers spread of nearby military testing grounds. Some conspiracy theorists suggested the bus might have stumbled onto restricted property and was removed to protect secrets. Families dismissed this as fantasy. Yet the lack of evidence kept the theory alive. The paranormal angle. Over the years, folklore grew. Some said the road leading into the forest was cursed, that strange lights had been seen in the sky that very week. Others told stories of phantom buses appearing in the mist, filled with ghostly children staring out from the windows. The impact on Ridgway was devastating. Parents, once trusting of the sleepy town's safety, were left broken. One mother was photographed on her porch, clutching her daughter's school portrait, tears streaming down her face. Fathers took unpaid leave from work to join the search, digging through brush and swamps with their bare hands. For months, the empty classrooms of Ridgway Elementary stood as grim reminders. Desks sat untouched, books open to unfinished pages, as if waiting for the children to return. The disappearance became a media obsession. Journalists compared it to the Chowchilla kidnapping of 1976, where 26 California schoolchildren were buried alive in a van. They were rescued. But unlike Chowchilla, there was no ransom, no survivors, no clues. News anchors posed the haunting question, how does a 20-foot yellow school bus vanish in daylight Florida? As the years passed, tips and alleged sightings surfaced occasionally. A man in Georgia claimed he had once seen a rusting school bus in an abandoned barn. Investigators found nothing. In 1989, a woman in Alabama reported meeting a man who claimed he had been one of the Ridgway children, but no proof supported the claim. Paranormal groups visited the Ocala forest, claiming EVP recordings captured children's voices calling for help. None of it solved the mystery. Today, the case remains unsolved. Families of the missing never received closure. The bus, its driver, its teacher, and 16 bright-eyed children are still listed as missing. Every April, the town of Ridgway holds a candlelight vigil at the old school gymnasium. Photographs of the children line the walls, frozen in time, smiling in their 1970s hairstyles and clothes. The disappearance reshaped Florida law enforcement's approach to missing persons, reinforcing the urgency of immediate response. But it also left behind a chilling truth. Sometimes, even in the modern age, entire groups can vanish without explanation. A school bus, 16 children, one teacher, one driver, all gone without a trace. Was it a sinkhole, a hijacking, or something far stranger? Decades later, the questions remain, but the answers do not. The Ridgway school trip is more than a mystery. It is a wound that never healed.